Alrighty, hello again. Got another one of these asyncs coming up here. Need a live split. There's the timer. But yeah. So again, same kind of deals last time. Gonna play through the seed, talk through kind of my writing choices and all that. We'll be sticking to beginner to intermediate tricks for the most part, probably. If I sequence break anything, I'll try to be clear about it, that it's, you know, whatever I'm doing isn't in logic, and maybe try to talk through it as well a little bit. But otherwise, yeah, just kind of stream of consciousness again. Just kind of saying whatever I'm thinking as we're going through the seed. So we will hop right in, I think. 3, 2, 1, go. Hopefully the seed is a little more interesting than seed 2 was. Not to spoil it if you have been playing them out of order, but I feel like I really got to make any terribly interesting decisions in that seed. What do we got today? Tank. Alright, so already this will be a little bit different than the first seed. We're not going to be able to check Artifact Temple and whatever the below root cave item is. We have a burger under the ship. Bonk into an enemy there. Yeah, one thing you can try to keep an eye on. I'm not the best runner for this, but if you just kind of watch people and see what kind of things they lock onto, you know, scan dashing is a pretty quick way to get around. Faster than walking for sure, but you kind of got to know what scan points exist and which ones are actually useful for kind of hello ice beam, are actually useful for getting around. And hello WX fan, hope you're doing well. Hello wave beam, alright. Something tells me this seed might... Well, it can still be interesting, just in a different way, I guess. Yeah. If only. Booties. So that kind of sucks. We never found a missile, so we've isolated a couple missile checks here. Presumably that's going to be our launcher up on Vault Ledge. The ice beam isn't actually in logic yet. That grapple edge item does actually require grapple in beginner logic. But it is definitely well worth learning how to get all 3 items in main plaza with space jump. So the question is, what to do now with missiles? Where's our launcher? I guess I'll poke my head. We're already up here. Let's poke our head in here. See what's in Vault. It is an E-tank. So that can be good to keep in mind, you know, if you're the type of player that's a little less confident with, you know, mines or any of that kind of stuff. Um, I disagree with what I'm doing right now. There's really no rush to pick up this ice beam. I think what I'm supposed to do is actually just go back to Transport Access North. And if we don't find Morph there, I think we save warp and do the, I wanted to call it Temple Grounds, the Talon Overworld checks. And then I think the last location will be Vanilla Morph. It's not unreasonable to do Vanilla Morph now. But I like the idea of, like, if we get Morph, I guess we need bombs too. Right? I guess we need... Yeah, no, we need bombs. Yeah. Because as soon as... If Morph and bombs show up, we can get wave and we can, like, full clear the whole area over there. Which would be nice to kind of single dip that area, or at most double dip it. Kind of annoying to have to keep going back in the hello. That's annoying. So my plan was to save warp. That's now not really reasonable. I think we just go out, check the tree, and we'll, if it's not Morph there, then maybe we have the excuse to poke our heads in Shrine, because we've already gone all the way out. My previous plan before Supers turned up was I was going to save warp out of the Ruin Nursery here. And just do the couple talent checks on the way back into Chozo. But I think we want to chase these Supers, because I didn't scout the tree earlier. It's pretty likely that it's actually Morph in the tree at this point. So in and out here again, and we'll be back a third time very shortly as well. As soon as Morph and bombs show up. Yuck. Okay. So now, my leading theory of where Morph is in, like, upper, or in Warrior Shrine, or in Fiery Shores Lower, and it's just a missile here. This is also part of the reason I don't like doing this check early, is this backtrack's actually super dangerous. If you kind of stick to the outside walls, it's a little easier to dodge the scarabs. Alright. How are we doing this? This is an interesting seat, actually. I'm tempted to put off Artifact Temple and go straight into Magmor from here. No. Man, I don't know. It's fine. We need to, it's only a couple extra room backtrack. And you get so punished if you go into Magmor here. And Morph was just here. Actually, you don't really. I'm really actually second guessing this. This isn't like super incorrect. So my thinking was like, what scared me out of going to Magmor is, so it sucks when you go into Magmor from Talon, and ideally you want to make it all the way to Sun Tower, like the Lava Lake elevator. But right now we're missing Morph and explosives to get all the way through. So I was thinking like, oh, it kind of sucks if you skip this and you get punished, and like that was the difference between you actually being able to get through all the way to Lava Lake. But I actually think it's really unlikely that we do manage to get all the way through to Lava Lake, no matter what. So like probably this seed kind of forces us to dive into Magmor and turn around. SDB, MQB. OP. Boat. Plant and Tower of Light. Interesting spread. So we are looking for X-ray visor. No. We cannot go that way. We don't have... Alright, so we are last locationing the things in Magmore. Like, it's possible that you could have routed, you know, more aggressively into Magmore. I think it was somewhat reasonable to try to put off Artifact Temple. Because, like, we're gonna want to go back to landing site again when we get Morph, because we want that power bomb behind the ship. So it'll be our first explosive, and that'll let us check things like, you know, if we go back to... You know what I should have done that I didn't do is peak upper Ruined Shrine. That was actually a fairly big mistake, honestly. Because if we know that that's not anything, we can... Well, no. Actually, it's not really a big deal. Because we're going to want to go back with the explosive anyways. I just kind of mindlessly did this with... After saying I was going to stick to beginner tricks. I won't do Arbor Chamber. This is a good... It's a good sequence break to try to be comfortable with getting these items with just space jump. Just getting this stuff out of the way is pretty nice. Yeah, you never know. It could be a seed where something like Grapple and X-Ray are down here in Magmore to get you Morph Ball and Root Cave, and then you just completely saved yourself a dip into Magmore. Because then you could like grab the Morph, go get your PB, and then you can actually ride all the way through Magmore or something. Should be pretty nice. So one of these next two ought to be Morph. I'll take an E. Why not? Just a missile. Alright, 2 checks left. It's a nice thing to know about Ice Beam. Every turret except the turrets in Phazon Mines, it's like permanently frozen by Ice Beam, which is pretty nice. Oh, yeah, here, we show this climb too. So, yeah, so if you jump on that pillar, you can jump up to the little gap in the boardwalk here. And you want to jump to the yellow point, to the yellow, like to these yellow bars, and then you're up. The yellow bars, and you can go up. Still no Morph. I guess. So presumably it must be Morph Ball in Triclops pit here. Oh, that was terrible. Yep. It would be lovely if bombs were right here. Or main PBs. But some sort of explosive here in Storage Cavern. That would make my day. Because then we route this straight through into Chozo. If it's not, then we're going to go back, grab our bomb expansion from behind landing site. At that point, we might as well check for your crash site as well. And then return to Chozo. Ryder, I've seen some folks that don't know this. If you do get grabbed by a Triclops, just wiggle the control stick. It'll get you out quicker. Yeah, no explosives. We're not getting through Lava Lake. So the sad backtrack. So this has been a very slow start to the seed. Lots of like annoying backtracking. It's a pretty rude item layout. Granted, we're still going to come away with 2 pretty early beams, which is nice. Yeah, it's not quite the movement. Alright, finish this annoying backtrack. Yeah, generally, if you've got a known explosive when you find Morph, it's pretty good to try to route it in as soon as possible. There's a lot of places in Chozo, like Ruined Shrine, like Watery Hall, where you're going to be isolating checks if you don't have an explosives gathering hall. So it's pretty important. You know, anything behind this single power bomb expansion is not going to be in logic. But it saves us needing to like backtrack to a bunch of kind of far-flung areas when the true logical explosives do show up. The gravity is a little bit pointing it for your crash site here because or wait, no, space up alone is enough, so never mind. Actually, I don't think the gravity matters. Gravity's weird. It's kind of hard to read what gravity is supposed to be for. It's not actually required for most of the early game underwater stuff. Nope. Alright. But we got our burger. That's the main goal of this little play here. If we had bombs, I would be very much a fan of doing Chozo back to front here. It skips a few pretty slow things, like you don't need to do the wave slot in Hall of Elders anymore, because you just get to activate the barrier from reverse. You don't need to solve the bomb slot puzzle in Energy Core. So there's a couple pretty nice time saves like that. That come from if you like haven't done much of Chozo yet, particularly like the middle Chozo area. Can be a pretty nice way to route to just do it backwards. It is possible, like if I find bombs, like in Ruined Shrine or something right now, that might be exactly what we do. We got 2 checks here, one's in logic, one is not. No bombs. So we can dip into Lava Lake. That is a check that is in logic. It's a bit too slow for my tastes. I think we're going to last location it. form a power bomb. These scarabs have pretty good drop rates for power bombs. Yeah, see, there's 3. Um, there's theoretically an option to do magma pool here. Gravity makes it a little safer. With knowing that wave is nearby, I think there's really no reason to sequence break it now. But it might be worth doing if you're comfortable with it and we get bombs before grapple. Where are the goodies? Oops, I keep doing that. There's our bombs. Alright, so now we have a very, very large fraction of the game open to us. Because we can go get our wave beam. And then the world is our oyster. And X-ray. Wow. That's super nice. Suddenly, we're actually fairly close to go mode. Now I imagine most people are not going to want to do spiderless lower mines. That is a difficult room to learn, MQA spiderless. But it's really the only one that's difficult in terms of skipping spider. Yeah. What am I doing? We're doing this and then we're gonna go back for wave. No, that's nothing. I don't think I'm gonna press on to Zoid right now. Actually, you know what? Well, Hey, Booey Man. I'm gonna speculate on doing Flagra. Oops. So we know there's an artifact here. Oh my god, please. This play is stronger if you know Early Wild. I don't really expect very many folks to be doing that in this tournament. But then you're guaranteed to get the artifact. I would not do this play if you don't have supers. Because it's very easy to get both checks with only Spider if you just wait to do Flagra until you have Spider. Because you can just roll halfway down the Spider track. Oops. You need to... Whoop. Weird. Did we get it? Hey, alright. One down. We're gonna grab ourselves gallery tunnel here because it's kind of on the way to nursery. And then once we get wave, we definitely want to go do Tower of Light because we know that's required as an artifact. And then we get the extra kind of check for free. And so yeah, so the seed's going to be very open to us. When you have Morph Bomb, Space Jump, Ice Wave, that's like 60% or more of the checks in the game just with those alone. So I'll check for this. You can jump up on this thing, do like a double bomb jump. If you don't unmorph like that, you'll fall, but that's fine. You can just like jump back up if you need. But I do the little unmorph to land back up there, and then you get the item pretty easily. But yeah, I'm pretty inclined to be done with Chozo for now. If we ever want to do more Chozo later, I think we just want to go climb Forget Crash Site and start doing it backwards. But with Ice and Wave, I'm thinking I want to go to Fendrana now. So to do that, I think we'll just go out the front of Chozo Elevator, into Magmor, go to the Shorelines Elevator. Because there is a bit of Magmor cleanup we can still do now that we have bombs. Alright, anything in the free check? Oops. Yeah, sure. So, stuff that's in Logic right now. We have Zoid is 2 checks. We have Lower Furnace. We don't have anything in the Magma Pool area yet. We can get the artifact out of Hall of Elders. Actually, saying that, are there any artifacts in Fen? Kind of aren't, are there? This is a seed where... So I'm going to route to Fen. This is a seed where if you are comfortable with bar skip, I think this is a good bar skip scheme. What you could do here is have save warped. Well, no, you'd have to... We still want Tower Blade first, but at this point, just go straight to the Forget Crash Site climb, grab Hall of Elders, do bar skip, go into Upper Mines, and you can pretty much clear all your artifacts out. Well, all but MQB and OP. And if Plasma's just in Mines, then it's a free seed for you. For this seed, we will just stick with the no bar skip. Um, hmm. So the one thing, so this play is probably going to mean that this is the kind of seed where observatory dash is pretty important. So my like kind of intended route is to do forwards labs into far fen after shorelines. I think if you're not comfortable with observatory dash, an alternate route you could take here is rather than cleaning up these early Magmore checks and going into shorelines, you could have gone backwards through Magmore into the Farfen area, do Farfen first, and then do backwards labs, and then you don't need to worry about observatory dash. I think that's a perfectly valid route here. I just kind of want to get at this, or I just kind of wanted to get this early Magmore stuff out of the way, which is why I'm doing it this way. It's gonna be the interesting. It's actually gonna be a bit of an interesting challenge, like trying to help people route, because like I need to be very careful with the assumptions I make about, because like what I like, it's easy to forget that like a route that makes a lot of sense to me actually requires some tech that like might not be available to everybody. Because yeah, I think actually the easiest way to route the seed is probably actually Farm Magmore. And it's got some advantages too. So like the Farm Magmore route, it's it's a long walk through Farm Magmore, and you don't really get any checks done, which kind of sucks. So this is the opposite of Seed 2. If you don't have Spider or Plasma, then you actually just want to do Chapel first before you go peek the stuff in Ice Ruins East. Conversely, if you do have Spider but no Plasma, I think it's best to check Ice Ruins East first in case that Spider track is Plasma, and then you're able to get both checks here. I've not learned the new peeking. Observatory dash is actually, I think, in advanced logic, so it would not ever be logically required. So to go through observatory forwards in like all of the seeds for this tournament would always require boost ball. But if the game gives you ice beam, it can expect you to do observatory backwards without boost. So yeah, so the better trickless way to route this would have been to do reverse slabs. And I'm like kind of coming around to thinking that maybe it was the better way to route this just in general. Like shorelines is a very dense area of checks, but like most of them you can't do if you don't have plasma. So kind of sucks. At the very least, like you can at least pretty much do everything visually here. And like most of the time, a visual check is as good as a check. We do have another option, even if we routed this way. Ooh. Yuck. Well, there's our boost ball. That's going to be out of the way to come back to. Oh, no, we don't have Spider or Grapple. We don't want to do Thardus right now. I was going to say we could go through Thardus, but that's actually super unreasonable without Spider or Grapple. Speaking of, where is Grapple? Grapple puts ice in logic. So logically, our ice beam is not available. But it's one of those, like, the only thing that locks it is grapple, and grapple's not the most important item to have. Um, Now, if you're in the position where you are reliant on having grapple to, like, get through lower mines or something, then it's actually very important to us, very important information for us that grapple's locking ice, because it very much narrows down where we want to look. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me much at all if grapple was in, like, mid Chozo at this point. You know, either on Zoid or... I guess it was reasonable to expect it to be here in Fen as well. It could still be anywhere up to Hydra and be in Logic. So yeah, the only checks we... yeah. So the things that could so like if we had, for instance, seen something like a grapple locked by plasma here, then we know that we need to, like, not really... Ooh, okay. We're close enough. We want this boost ball, I think. So that's all worked out. So now even if you don't like the observatory dash, you would have had the means to skip it. So far so good. We're getting some upgrades here. So logically, we still don't actually have any access to phazon mines. We haven't seen main power bombs to get in through Magmor. We don't have thermal to get in through Frigate. And bar skip is never going to be in Logic either. So that's interesting. I'm kind of the mind where, like, I don't necessarily care about that. Because it's actually fairly likely that, like, there's going to be a lot of seeds where it's like, okay, well, it's not in Logic to go there right now, but power bombs are going to be somewhere in, like, Vendrana or something, and then you have access to mines, and then Plasma's there. And Plasma's really the only thing we care about at this point. And so it's, like, still fine in those seeds to just go straight to mines. Oops. I want this. Thank you. Woo! Needed. Saintly Easter is just like the ones in Magmar, just permastun them with ice. It's actually the quickest way to deal with them. If you have it. Okay, sir. And no need to save an observatory. If you're at all concerned about health or something, it's fine to save. Like, I haven't saved in a while, so like making a safety save isn't completely unreasonable, but I've so many E-tanks that I'm not super worried about dying personally. But it is a good habit to save every once in a while. Anything good here? Nope. So what are Boost and Spider for? They actually don't really do a whole lot for us. Oh, so there was some very particular movement that I did when I entered that room. You know what? Fuck it. I'll turn around and go show it off. Who cares about the time? For those that can't see chat that are watching this, I just got asked why there were no pirates here in Control Tower. So there is a trigger for the fight that's like right in front of this door. There's like a box kind of around here that if you step into the box, the fight will start. But the box isn't that tall. It's probably like this tall, and it doesn't go like backwards past the door. So like if I jump like this, I've jumped over the trigger. And there is in fact a very narrow band right here. So the secret box is like right in front of me now. It's probably like even closer than this line on this tile on the pavement. Like I'm really close to hitting this trigger. So if I take a tiny step forwards, doors are gonna lock, pirate fight's gonna start. So when you're coming in this room from the front, you wanna like turn sideways and just kind of inch your way out until the game lets you jump up high, and now we do a big jump over the fight trigger. Basically, just try to land on these boxes, and then we dodge the bad trigger. And similarly, if you're going backwards, like get on these boxes first, do a big high jump, and then kind of sneak your way to the door. Yeah, that's a really good time save that comes, yeah, like once you know it, there's almost no reason not to do it every time, just because that fight is pretty slow. Triggering the fight also sets some like worse layers in Magmar, so it also makes a lot more flying pirates show up in Magmar. So like if you don't ever trigger the fight, then those guys never show up, which is nice. Oops, did not mean to lock onto him. Just 2 missiles. And more missiles. Let's do Farfindrana. If I have gravity, I like doing it backwards. If I don't have gravity, I do it forwards. And so backwards just involves going all the way down and then going through this room first. This gets us to Gravity Chamber quicker, which has like 2 checks on the way. So there's like 2 chances to get a plasma beam. Well, that's a lie, isn't there? That's a lie. There's really still only 1 chance to get plasma, because it's not going to be in beginner settings in the upper item here. Oh boy. So this is a good trick to know, just because like this skips plasma and X-ray, which you're often not going to have down here. This is not easy, so maybe it's not reasonable to go to 4. So this is probably just a, you know what? I take an Ice Spreader. Can't stop me. It's one of those with optimal play against final bosses. Ice Spreader doesn't really save any time, but it's really easy to lose a lot of time in the ice phases, and Ice Spreader makes it a lot easier to not lose time in the ice phases. So we're gonna skip that thermal. So the thermal's interesting, right? So the thermal is blocked by grapple and plasma. So what this means is plasma is not on Thardis. Plasma is also not on Workstation. Plasma is not in Frigate or in Mines until PVs show up. So there is actually a decent amount we can deduce from the fact that thermal is locked by plasma. Because the game, like beginner tricks, will expect you to break the stalactite with plasma, and then so a nice quick shortcut for this room. If you jump on this route, you can jump up to this platform, and that skips a decent chunk of the room. Then you can even jump to this guy. You jump to this guy. You'll get kind of stuck, but if you just kind of hold still. So this is a little tricky. So if you walk along the right side, it'll push you back down. But if you take a little step to the left, you can kind of climb up. Do a slope jump and get up here. Fortunately, we can't check that item. We just hope it's not phase on. So this, yeah, that required an R jump if you don't have R jumps are nice to learn. It's a lot more complicated. Can you actually do this with just like a really good L jump? Well, not if you don't jump before you walk off. I'm actually kind of curious. Can you L jump this? What? That was weird. What if are these platforms not like perfectly flat? Because it looked like I jumped and immediately like walked into Alright, let's see if I can L jump this. Okay, so you can barely like you need a good L jump, but you can actually just L jump this too. Ooh, that's tight though. An LR jump helps here too. Makes it a little less precise. This is the wrong way. I make this mistake all the time when I'm routing Farfin backwards. So we'll take our little shortcut again to get up to the door. So reminder, when you're using boost, you don't actually want to be holding forward. You pretty much, like once you release your first boost, pretty much just use left and right to steer if you need, but otherwise you can pretty much neutral stick and keep boosting. If you hold forwards, the game like actually enforces a speed cap on you. But if you're not holding forwards, so if you're holding nothing or if you're holding just left or right, the game doesn't enforce the speed limit on you, and you can actually go quite a bit faster with boost ball. A good sandable for this room, this route here. If you're not in the pirate layer, you do have to watch out for the shriek bats. They can get you there, so you gotta kind of time it correctly or try to kill them. If you want to skip this maze, you can do a scan dash off this platform, which is nice. I've done it with like an R jump before as well. Oh! Wow. Okay. So, plasma is locking thermal and power bombs. So plasma is not in mines. It's not on Thardis. If I were playing, I would do the scan dash for quarantine monitor here. I'm not going to do that because that dash is quite approachable enough. We also know it can't be on Thardis. So where is it? It can be vanilla. That's spicy. Is... You know, things that I should know. Do you need grapple for plasma processing in beginner? We're doing it anyways because we don't know that grapple's not available, whereas like we know the other items aren't. So this will be another trick here. There's a couple ways to do this. You can scan dash off onto the clams, or if you come over here, you can jump on this rock, and you can jump to this thing, and then this does take a pretty good jump, huh? Can you jump to this thing first? Oh, actually, no. Is this thing standable? Oh, it is. Okay, so that makes this jump. Okay, so that means you can just do this with a normal jump. Okay. There's a throwback. I think I used to use that standable, but then once I kind of got more comfortable with R jumps, you can just jump straight from the one platform and not have to worry about missing the little standable on the rock there. So, if it's not here, we kind of missed it in Chozo, presumably. It is not vanilla. Okay, so what's left in the world that is not locked by thermal, plasma, or power bombs? The answer is not much. Blah! Got bullied. So you can stand on this thing too, which is a way to climb up here too. We don't get bullied again. Thank you. So we're taking a save warp here. We're going to do the frigate crash site climb. This again isn't in beginner logic, climbing up frigate crash site. But it is not that difficult and is very frequently good, so I do definitely recommend doing it. No, none of frigate is in logic. We saw that thermal is locked by plasma. You do need thermal logically to get through forward frigate, and we know we can't do backwards frigate because we don't have logical main power bombs either, and you need those to get into mines, to come out of mines to do frigate backwards. So both paths through frigate are blocked to us with the knowledge we have of what plasma's locking. Very interesting to see it, actually. This is one where it's, yeah, we're like actually kind of keeping track of the logic and what is being locked by what is pretty effective here, because we know we're not supposed to go to mines right now until we find plasma. Fortunately, this is going to end up being another seed where bar skip is really important, probably. Because if we just find plasma up here, we're going to want to immediately go bar skip. So we need to go check Great Tree Chamber. That is in logic. So we'll do that after Villanelle Ice, and then we'll start doing Chozo backwards. I wonder if it's just in Crossway. We have all the items for Crossway. Maybe that's what the boosts in the spider were for, was to actually come back to Crossway. That wouldn't surprise me at all, actually. In which case, we did kind of get punished for bailing on Chozo here. But I do think generally the problem is we had to turn around for Wave, like back in early Chozo. Like if we had Wave by the time we were in like the Watery Hall area, then I think I would have been more inclined to just kind of route all the way through Far Chozo, then take the like Overgrown Cavern elevator back into Talon, and then play Magmore into Fen. Like that would have seemed pretty reasonable. But the fact that we already had to walk all the way back to the start of Chozo, I thought I really was disinclined to walk all the way back to the back. And there weren't enough checks in Logic there relative to the amount of other checks we had in Fen and Magmore that I was terribly interested in doing this back to front play. It's only now that there's so little left that I'm doing it. It's a little unfortunate, I think, for us here. So stand up below the skip spider. That is in Logic. You do need to know that. Oops. This threat's a little less important now that cutscene skips are a thing, but it is nice to overlap the ghost dying with this bomb, using this bomb slot. These are artifacts. Oops. And let's see, did we miss Plasma in Crossway? That seems like the most likely spot for it at this point. No. Not up there. Not down here. This is just Sunzoid, and we get very punished for not doing this at the time. So yeah, so for the Zoid part, there's these kind of safe zones you can stand on his head. His head is kind of like... he's like a cylinder with like a It's very slightly narrower cylinder sticking out where like his head would show up. So like you can jump completely on his head, and that's not what you want, because now he's just gonna like raise up his weak point under you. But there's another place you can stand that's slightly lower. You see, I'm trying to move forwards and I can't. This is where you want to be, and then the safe spot comes up right in front of you. He always alternates between when you enter the room for the first time. His safe zone is going to be like not on the line between the door and the tunnel, so it'll be like here. The second one will be on that line. The third will be off it again, and the fourth will be on it again. And so it's like it's 90 degrees different each time where his safe zone turns up, but it's always the same every time. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. We are running out of things to do. We have ghosts? Is that it? I think that's literally our only logical check, unless I've hot dogged something. Training chamber requires grapple. No, it's possible grapple's just on ghosts. If you are comfortable with magma pool strats with the equipment we have, I would do it here first. Before going up to ghosts, like it's on the way, because we can't go into plant from the front anymore now that the first fight is done. You know what I didn't fucking do is upper dynamo. That's what we're doing first. Well, I mean, at this point we just loop around there after. But we should have done upper dynamo. That's my mistake. Oh, and Lava Lake. Lava Lake's in play. I think it's very unlikely to be Lava Lake. I think it's very unlikely, given where everything else was. This is one of those times where like it's worth remembering the logic chain and the fact that like the next thing is generally a lot more likely to be placed behind the last thing, especially when you start getting to like Lava Lake's been available for many spheres, whereas this stuff is relatively new. So the most recent thing we actually got in the logic chain was boost, but we've actually cleared everything that matters with boost. That's why I was thinking it was pretty likely it was crossway, because that is logically boost locked. But secondary to boost, the most recent thing we got was spider. Infen locked behind wave, which was behind bombs. Actually, this is really likely to be grapple, isn't it? So there's a strat for this fight that I like forgot to do because I was talking. But you can try to get one charge shot in on each of these ghosts as they're like spawning in, which brings them all into HP range where a super one-shots them. No. Alright, so it was Upper Dynamo. Or Lava Lake. God help me. Have I skipped anything else? And now I think, actually, this can't be plasma, can it? No, it can. It can. It almost can't be plasma. The reason I'm saying that is because Ice Beam is still out of logic until we find Grapple. And so it was like, are there actually any plasma locked checks that plasma alone would open up? And the answer is yes, there is exactly one. So it could be that plasma is in Upper Dynamo and grapple is in Chozo Ice Temple. And then that puts ice in logic. Alternatively, this could still just be plasma. Or this could be grapple. And then plasma's in like the training chamber area. What I was thinking before I realized that this could still be plasma was thinking that actually this is just grapple, we could skip it. Let's go to magma pool because that's probably where plasma is. Or well, not magma pool itself, but training chamber access or training chamber. Nope, here's plasma. All right. So grapple, I think, must be in Chozo Ice Temple. So if you cared about grapple, that is where you want to go. If you don't care about grapple, then we go get our artifacts. No. So we're in phase on Tsuko mode, which means generally the answer is get your artifacts, fight Ridley, get the hints. You can do, on the way checks in case you stumble into phase on suit, but I would try to figure out what the most effective route to full clear all your artifacts is and just go do that. Which is this way. So yeah, this is a beginner. If you have gravity, you just jump out of the lava. That's actually one of the more common things that gravity shows up to let you do in beginner logic, given that actually most of the underwater stuff in Chozo is in beginner with the slope jumps you can do. A little strat will show up in this room. So there are three gamers or zoomers in this room. The third one, way in the back, has a 100% PB drop rate. So if you don't have any PBs, there is a narrow hole in this rubble that you can shoot all the way through here. And just wait for the zoomer to come to you. Here he comes. Black. And then with charge beam, you can hoover in that drop. He actually didn't drop it, I think, because I was full on power bombs, but which actually means I should not have killed him first, because now I'm entering mines without a power bomb, whereas I would have had one. But that is a good strat to know, because otherwise it's really hard to get a power bomb around here if you didn't have one for that rubble. So it's really nice to always be able to get through this room. Luckily, PPC has reasonably friendly drop rates for power bombs. Oops. Oops. Uh-oh. So you can get those blocks. You can kind of jump like here and get these ones. There we go. We got some power bombs. We got 2 even. Just enough that we can look at this. We don't care about that. All right. So if you do this and you get no PBs, you can reload the room actually. What you want to do is just come down here, go into the back of PPC, press yourself up against this. This will hit the load trigger for OP's room, which means this room will reload. You can see the door's not opening because it needs to reload. And now everything's reloaded and I can break the blocks again. I can farm the boxes again. So if you need a power bomb in this room and you don't get one, that's the quickest way to reload the room so that you don't have to like actually climb all the way up. Actually gonna come right back. Try to get another PB here. Okay, just being slightly rude. No PBs. I didn't want one anyways. Choices. We can do storage depot B first or second. I think first is faster. Ooh, no grapple. Kind of sucks. We do have all the items to do this puzzle vanilla if we were desperate enough. But there is a trick we could do here as well. This is pretty difficult. I wouldn't really necessarily expect anyone to go for this. So you want to jump on this railing about where this post is intersecting it. Look kind of in the middle of this thing. I think I usually line up with like the yellow part of it, but I don't know if it matters that much. And then you do a good L jump forwards. You're trying to land on this thing. But, oh, I'm sorry, Ivan. This pirate will never aggro if you don't touch him or shoot him, but in gesturing, I think I clipped him with a power pellet. So we're trying to land on this thing, but it's a very small standable and it's very easy to fall off it. So what we do is we kind of jump. I'm gonna shift my stick to. Oh, we weren't supposed to walk off there. Shift my stick to kind of like upright-ish. And then when I get up there, I'm just gonna actually mash jump to try to get a jump without accidentally sliding off. And then when you do actually get the nice power bomb drop, thanks, Ivan. Oh, I didn't. I jumped too late there, I think, so I didn't get enough height. To climb up to the middle of the room is quite a bit easier, actually. The last jump is the one that's really hard. So you jump on this ring, then you jump in the kind of nook of this pipe here. Or not. And you can do actually a little bit of a slope jump off where that kind of pipe is curving upwards. You see there's like a little slope there. Jump on this bomb slot. And we're jumping kind of into, like onto this ledge there. This is like almost perfectly Samus size. Like this thing is sticking out farther than this, and this thing's sticking out farther again. So there's like a little nook in here we need to land in. You need to have not much vertical momentum when you're at the right height here. So you actually kind of want to, oh wow. And you also don't want to hold L like I was doing there. L kind of makes you more slippery on a lot of these little standables. Oh my god, why am I holding L? What's wrong with me? I was just saying don't do that. And then you just jump backwards, and that gets you up. Head down without having to do this puzzle. But yeah, this part is more advanced, I would say. Man, what is... I just can't do this anymore today. The other way to get this trickless... I mean, so, like, we could have just gone to Chisel Ice Temple, which I think has to be grapple. Or we could have gone all the way through forwards, or through backwards lower mines, or backwards upper mines, Jesus. And then come through waste disposal, and then that sticks us out on the upper level. We can just jump over. So there were ways to get this without needing to do a trick. Or we could have just done the vanilla puzzle, which I honestly don't even remember how to do. It is pretty slow, so you don't really want to have to go for that in a race. But if it is the difference between being in go mode or not, then, you know, you just do what you gotta do. Alright, will Phazon suit yet again be in ventilation shaft? I don't really care about triggering this fight. You don't really, if you're trying to head up to vent shaft, you don't really need to bother fighting him. You can jump on this thing, and then on this thing, and over here, and then you're up the room. And the pirates don't aggro until after the fight, so you're just kind of done. Oh, not today. One little thing for this is if you're waiting for this door to load, the pirates are like way less accurate if you're morphed. So just like morphing and hanging on the door is good. Remember, these pirates don't activate their AI to start like absorbing bullets unless they get to look at you dead on. So if you just kind of slowly strafe around them, they can't really do much. If this item's nothing and we want to press on, which we do in this case, we're just not... Oh, I should have used my power bomb before blowing up those crates, because now we don't get the drops. Like forgetting that we only have one power bomb capacity, which is not ideal. You ideally want at least... None of that was good. But we'll reload the room and we'll get ourselves a power bomb for real this time, and not just like randomly throw it on the ground. Yeah, there are 3 guaranteed power bombs in Sendina. There's a set of crates by that door over there, and there's another set of crates over by the save station. 3. The first set of 3 you'll blow up will drop 2. The second set will drop 1. Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to be looking for a power bomb if this item is required. It is not. So that's all fine and dandy for us. We can hold on to our power bomb. You do not want to advance past MQA if you do not have one power bomb in your inventory. You need one to get into Phazon Mining Tunnel, and you're really unlikely to get a drop between here and Phazon Mining Tunnel. So if you don't have a power bomb, this room is an okay room to farm in. The Metroids have an okay PB drop rate. It's not a great position to be in because you can still lose quite a bit of time trying to farm these guys, but it is better than getting forced to turn around at Phazon Mining Tunnel. That is a worst case scenario. But in our case, because we didn't need to go up and get the item, we didn't need any power bomb. We didn't need to use a power bomb in that room, so we're fine. So this room, skip grapple, there's a couple things we can do. We can scan dash off this guy when he kind of comes around like this. You can also jump from over these mushrooms. You can jump over to this one. I guess I can show that too. So like from here, you can just kind of follow these mushrooms. This probably is an R jump. I don't know if you can L jump this. We can try. Oh, that's close. I bet you can actually do that, but it's going to be pretty tight. If you do fall in this room, you can stand kind of at the stem of this mushroom, or very carefully apparently, and then I always forget how you jump out of here to not bonk your head. Okay, yeah, you gotta jump backwards like that. Couple ways to get through this room. Here's where we need our power bomb. We don't even need to look at phasing mining tunnel. Instead, the only thing we care about is phase on suit. Nothing can ever be valuable enough here to be worth. But if you ever are in a position, you can just turn around and look at the item like that. But in our case, we did not need even to go look at that because it was never going to be anything that we were going to get. Couple methods for this room. We can do like a slope jump over here, get up to the door. Otherwise, there's like a rock over here. This surface of it is not standable, but the farther part of it is, or the back part of it is here. And then you can pretty easily jump up to this mushroom from there. That gets you to the door. So the fast strat in this room is using the pirates to dash. Definitely a challenging strat. I'll show you a backup here if you don't have spider. You can jump about on this rock, and what we're trying to do is get up to... There's a little standable up here. Do need to do like a little bit of a slope jump to get up here. From here we can jump to the spider track. And from the spider track to the platform. And then here... Can you just L jump this? You sure can. If you're at all scared of the Omega Pirate fight, I don't hate taking a save there. Especially since we're like on less than half health. Alright, OP. So the first thing, when you get into the fight, boost off to the side like this. OP's got the same AI as other elite pirates. As long as we don't let him look at us dead on, through the first phase he will fail to ever engage his AI, and we just get to shoot him for free. Wait to see what the pirates are, and then we'll talk about... Plasma's nice. Oops. Okay, so, OP. We want to get a one cycle here. There are 3 phase-on pools. OP will always start off spawning in the one that is farthest from you. And so these 3 phase-on pools make like you can like draw a triangle if you connect all them. What we want to do is stand in the middle of one of the edges of the triangle and look kind of across to the point of the triangle that's like not on that edge. And because that's where we know he's going to show up. After the first pool, he will always spawn in... He will never spawn in the same pool twice. And of those 2 pools, he will spawn in the one that's farther away from you. And so what we'll do is after the first pool, we'll move from standing on the like center of an edge of the triangle to just going to one of the vertices. So we'll go and stand by one of the pools. And at that point, we know he's going to just basically alternate back and forth between the two pools because we're really close to one of them that we're standing right behind. So he's never going to choose that because it's not the farther of the pools. And since he won't change the same one twice, he's going to just switch back and forth forever. So that's how we know where he's going to spawn, which saves us time in trying to engage him with our weapons. To actually get a one cycle, the easiest strat, if you have supers, is to just shoot 4 supers. You can shave off a bit of time in the fight by instead doing 2 quick missiles and then 3 supers, because that stuns him one less time, so you don't have to wait quite as long for him to reappear. Important to note, once he's like lower on health, he'll summon more pirates. Just ignore the pirates. You don't want to try to engage him. You want to focus on dealing as much damage to a mega pirate as possible so he doesn't get his armor back. Another way, if you have plasma, which you should, there's really no way to get into this fight without plasma. If you don't have supers, you can do 2 fully charged plasma shots per time he appears, and if you get that 3 times, he'll die. The problem with the plasma method, though, is 1 fully charged shot and 1 uncharged shot is enough to stagger him, and that's not great because it's not as much damage as hitting him with 2 fully charged shots. So what you need to do is fully charge a shot while you're waiting for him to show up, and then unload it on him, and then look away from him to start charging the other shot. Because when you start trying to charge a shot, you're going to shoot out an uncharged one first. So you need to like purposely miss him with the uncharged shot so that you can charge up and hit him with a charged shot. So I'm going to show the plasma strat because I think that's a little more challenging. The super strat is really just know where he's going to be when he shows up, shoot a super at him until he's dead. So we're going to go for the plasma strat here. And so right now I'm kind of behind the edge of the triangle. So I'm going to step up a little bit here. And now I'm kind of between, there's a pool to my left, a pool to my right, and the farthest pool is the one in front of me. So that's where he's going to show up. I'm going to have a charged plasma shot ready. Then I look away. You see the other shot go away. Now we're going to go stand by this pool, which means he's going to show up in this pool. We look away. So he's going to summon the pirates. We don't care. We're going to ignore him. We're still standing by this pool, which means he's going to switch back to the other one. Boom. So we poked our heads in PCA earlier. I'm pretty sure we saw that was an E-tank. If you had not poked your head in PCA, you should be doing that here before you save warp. Grab some more missiles. 33 is probably enough for the Ridley fight, actually. We didn't really need to, but at least we get some health and we save. So for Ridley, we're going to have our plasma beam equipped as we wait for the room to load. First phase of the fight is just going to be a bunch of charged plasma shots. Also, welcome in, Jeff. Yeah. You saw me go for it, Jay. So I like to stand over here. This does a couple things. One, he's like pretty unlikely to hit you with any of his attacks as he's flying by here. Two, this kind of lures him closer to this wall when he's going to land. The phase two, you know, boost ball depletes the entire phase of its health. So we want to hit him with boost ball here. But also we like him to be close to this wall. And we want to kind of put our back to the wall as well. What happens is when he's close to the wall, he's way, way, way less likely to charge you. And so you should be able to just get a bunch of mouth open attacks in a row here to start the fight off. When he does the stagger backwards, unfortunately, now he's got enough room that he can dash if he wants. But we get lucky here. If you have supers, once you stun him for the second time after he kind of staggers backwards like that, a super will kill him. Whereas if you keep firing missiles, he'll stagger again, and it takes 3 cycles to kill him. So a super is a good way to finish the fight off and saves a cycle. Phase on suit is in Talon Overworld. Okay. So we're gonna do Arbor Chamber first because we haven't done that yet. So yeah, so we have in Talon, we have Arbor Chamber, we have all 3 checks in Frigate, we have all 3 checks in Life Grove, and that's it. C2 was rough? That's interesting. Because I thought C2 was incredibly boring and that there was like almost no opportunity for ride divergence. I kind of want to see what happened actually. Wait, what? C2 is so free. What did you do? I need to watch this, apparently. Oh my god. Oh my god. Down. Again, I will stick my foot in my mouth if Grapple Beam is not in Chezoi's Temple. So if you needed it for the strat, we could have gone back there. Nice Wave Buster. We can do Forward Frigate into Life Grove here. I actually, when my Phazon suit hint is in Talon, and I have both Frigate and Life Grove left, I like to do Life Grove area first. Just because it's a faster 3 checks. Going through Frigate is fairly slow. It's not unreasonable to do Frigate first, but bleh. I will choose to climb back into Chozo and take the shortcut into the Life Grove area. Do those checks first. Oh, well, my route requires bar skip, so maybe actually going through Frigate is better for beginner runners. So yeah, don't copy this part. Let's actually just fucking go through Frigate then. This is the kind of shit I need to pay attention to. It's giving bad advice because I'm like, I just like take it for granted that you just do bar skip forehead. And maybe it'll just be in cargo freight and save a ton of time. It's not going to be in cargo freight. don't know why I pulled out Ice Beam there. I think it is good against these turrets who can bully you sometimes like this. Ugh. Terrible. So yeah, definitely worth learning where these points are. This will never be expected of you logically, but it can frequently be the case that the game will expect you to do frigate backwards, in which case you don't need thermal. So you're not always going to get away with waiting until thermal to do frigate sometimes. And like if it makes more sense to route it forwards rather than backwards, if it's in logic from the back, then there will be times where you want to do this gravityless, or sorry, thermalless. There may be times you want to do a gravityless as well. It's honestly not, like, gravityless seems harder than it is. It is definitely slow, though. No, just vanilla. That's a little bit of a long seed for me. Like, we did, I guess, pause a couple times this time versus just actually speedrunning it, but nevertheless, this seed did not play out particularly well for us. Yeah, I mean, we literally last location plasma, now that I think about it. No! And it was in Life Grove. Unless I'm hot-dogging somehow. I don't think we've missed anything else at Talon, though. So the standable here, get you up the room quicker. It is not a landing site. Landing site was the source of our one and only power bomb that we've had this entire seed. Never easy. We gonna last location phase on too? Not that it really matters. Yep, we sure are. There she blows. About dang time.
Please clap.
Please clap. Ugh. Get up there. My friend Samus, thank you. That strat I highly recommend learning. It isn't actually in logic, but like you don't want to have to do vanilla Life Grove. So highly recommend if you haven't worked on escape strat. Highly recommend working on it. Yes, that is usually one of the first places that people work on non-basic L jumps. Um, like I do it with a um, twisting R jump. You can do it with like a straight forward L R jump. I don't even know if a basic L jump is enough. I don't know why we saved there. That was kind of bizarre. I guess that takes the place of our ship save. Oh, I think we still want the ship save. I don't think I have a power bomb. We'd love to have at least one for the Metroids and the final boss. With when I have Ice Spreader and Supers, having a pretty good missile count is nice as well. Oops. 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 Gonna be too slow now. Run. Oh. Alright, that was spooky. So yeah, two kind of approaches to the EXO. One mistake I see people make, like, so you can go for the kind of melee minute strat. That's like what speedrunner folks do, is kind of get up, bait out the melee attacks, dodge them, and land shots. You don't have to go for that. Like I don't, and my fights are usually okay. But a mistake I see people make is like getting. If you stay too far from EXO, it's actually like way more accurate with its attacks. So staying kind of in the mid-range is good here. Worth noting, each one of these phases has its own health bar, but the health bar of the next phase starts after it finishes that kind of stagger animation. But importantly, that's before it actually switches beams. So now the next health bar starts, which means if I can land a shot here, nope, or a shot on the turnaround, I'm actually damaging the next phase here. And that can be really nice if the next phase is something like Wave, because Wave has really low DPS. And getting these turnaround shots when you have like a good beam combo like Ice Spreader or Supers is really good, because Ice Spreader completely one-shots the next phase, Supers almost one-shot the next phase. And so here we'll do a super. We know Wave is next because it hasn't gone to it yet, and then one Wave shot will finish it off. That's really nice. So I don't do the melee minister the whole fight, but I do them here if it's ever in a beam color that I like. Just gonna ice right here, because whatever. I'll try to land another ice spreader when it turns around. We saw it turn to power, so we can land a super. And just like abusing the turnaround beam combo shots is one of the best ways to get through this fight quickly. It's in wave. Normally I'd back up, but we know it's got very little health, so we could just finish it off and not risk it changing colors like as we're shooting it. Alright, Essence. First trick of the fight is to do nothing. If you stand in place until it lays its first pool, it kind of restricts the RNG the game's going to give you to mostly favorable ones. The other important thing to know about this fight is if you are close to the edge of a pool when Essence is about to activate a visor phase. So like right now, I'm going to be close to the edge of this pool. If you draw a line from the center of the pool through Samus, Essence will appear like on the other side of Samus here. So what I like to do in this fight is get to where the edge of the pool will be, turn around, wait for the visor change to happen, and then take a step backwards into the pool. And that lines me up really well to start shooting Essence right away before it gets a chance to move. That's also really effective on the visorless phases, because you can just kind of, as soon as you hear the sound of it changing visors, you can just take a step backward in the pool, look up, and shoot, and you'll probably actually be able to land the hits even without being able to see where she is. So when I pause, I'm going to turn around, pull up extra visor, and take a step back. And then to get the attack cancel, you just kind of watch the chin to see when it gets back into the, it's like kind of neutral position here, and then you know you're ready to shoot again. We only have one power bomb, so I'm not going to waste it yet. Oh. Oh, that's what I saw on my radar. I was like, I thought Essence was showing up on my radar. I was like, that's not where I expected you to be. Okay, so we kind of got owned because I wasted time fighting the Metroids because I didn't have a power bomb delay. That's fine. That is the downside of entering this fight without too many power bombs. I like to wait. I would rather save them for the later pools. Oh. So I used a bit of the phase on the Metroid, so I'm going to do a little bit of a pool canceling there. Okay. So yeah, another technique beyond the kind of attack cancels is pool canceling, which is you just kind of hold charge beam down and walk in and out of the pool while locked on to Essence. And what's happening is the game allows you to continue shooting Phazon Beam for a little bit when you step outside the pool, but it only like decrements the amount of like Phazon in the pool when you're actually standing in the pool and shooting. And so that little bit of like extra time is kind of free extra damage that you get to do out of that pool. So if you keep going in and out and in and out and in and out, you're dealing a lot more damage than you should be with that pool. Normally when you see Fission Metroids, Essence has little enough health left that you can just completely unload the pool into it and it'll die. I was a little worried there because I even though we saw the fission Metroids and knew it was low enough health, I wasted a little bit of the pool shooting at the fission Metroids because I didn't have any more PBs. And so I did a couple pool cancels just to make sure I didn't waste too much damage and I was still going to be able to one-shot or finish up the fight there. Yeah, that's right. That was, yeah, quite a bit longer than the first one. Interesting seed. Alright, so let's see if I'm full of it. Grapple Beam is in Chozo Ice Temple, is it not? Lava, oh yeah, Lava Lake! We never did that, did we? Oops. Oops. Okay. I forgot that was an option too. Flamethrower on Thardus. Nice, all three boss rooms right in a row here. Quarantine Cave, Elite Quarters, Sun Chamber. Back to back to back. One of those items is not like the others. Alright. Let's see our percent complete here, and then I think we will wrap things up. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. See if I get around to seeds 4 and 5 at some point. I don't think I kind of got spoiled on seed 1, so I won't ever go back and do that one. 48%. We didn't bother picking up a lot of the things we visually checked, so I skipped a lot of misses and stuff, so not too surprising. But yeah, that is how they can go when they don't go quite as smoothly as seed 2 did for me. But yeah, this is one where, you know, paying attention to the fact that PBs and thermal were locked by plasma was super important when we were in basically a plasma hunt. So yeah, that was kind of the big thing from the seed that let us not have to dive into Phazon Mines to look for plasma. So that was pretty effective. Unfortunately, we still last locationed it among the remaining places we had left, but that's a tough. Upper Dynamo is a tough one to get back to, especially when Spider doesn't show up till somewhat later. But yeah, we will see you next time.